Today on the Topping Show, Matt Walsh reacts to the Minneapolis mayor giving his victory speech in Somalian. Representative Thomas Massie is co-sponsoring a bill to fix gas cans, which are cumbersome and terrible thanks to regulation. A woman says why she voted for Zohran Mamdani goes viral on social media. Ford might kill the F-150 Lightning as sales continue to plummet. And Toyota recalls 1 million vehicles. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I say founder released twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. Ease me, see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny reliable adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a Flamethrower. And lastly, try to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends and your enemies, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Ford Motor Company saying, well, maybe pause or kill the F-150 Lightning because, yes, they are terribly fiscally speaking. Now, this brought to us thanks to InsideEVs.com, and, oh, I'm sorry, I should put a visual disclaimer on the screen. You now have to see the Ford F-150 Lightning, which I suppose if you have enough money to piss away on a depreciating asset like an EV, you would also presumably have enough money to buy Milwaukee tools, which, don't get me wrong, pretty nice tools, but they are a pretty penny. And their marketing department's probably happy that I can recognize those tools just by the general design and the color scheme. They don't say the Milwaukee logo in this picture, but if you know, you know. Now, again, this is credited to InsideEVs.com, specifically Mac Hogan, who's a writer there. And they say, quote, the Ford F-150 Lightning was supposed to transform the industry. I'm sorry, that wasn't supposed to be a joke. I'll never forget when Hoovy, a famous YouTuber, great car content, he bought the F-150 Lightning and he famously towed a vintage Ford Model T, or he tried to. Yeah, it's because, again, because of physics, as soon as you try to tow anything with an electric vehicle, the range drops like a Boeing airplane. So it's quite comical. And yeah, a lot of people roasted that video. Now they say, quote, now Ford might pull the plug, which I don't know if he meant to, but unintended, I would think. Now, the Wall Street Journal says, quote, the demand is just not there for the truck, as a dealer telling to the Wall Street Journal, which, yeah, no duh. Now they say, quote, Ford announced the electric F-150 Lightning with optimistic movement in the EV era. The company and many others expected a, sorry, this is not supposed to be a joke, a hockey stick-like growth for all their upcoming electrical products. No. Ford at one point planned to sell up to 150,000 Lightnings annually. However, last year the company sold just 33,000 electric trucks and sold them at a substantial loss, which, yeah, when they say substantial, it is terrible. I actually just pulled up a quick Ask Grok, the AI tool from Twitter, and I asked them, like, hey, how much are they losing on these vehicles? Spoiler, a lot. And this is based on every EV model, just not just a truck. In 2022, they lost $2.2 billion on EVs, correlating to a loss of $55,000 per vehicle. 2023, Q2 did a little bit better, lost $32,000 per EV. But again, you're looking at the full year 2023, they lost $64,700 per EV. They lost $4.7 billion in 2023. In 2024, they lost $5.1 billion total, correlated to $52,000 per unit sold. Now, again, that is partial. Again, it's not all in that vehicle, it's the infrastructure, it's the factories, it's all the overhead that is required to retool factories, make new factories, write new software. Again, it's not like the components alone on the vehicles are causing that mind-boggling loss per vehicle. It's all the overhead. And again, those numbers, they're pretty bad. And they seem to be getting worse. Again, 2022, they lost $2.2 billion. 2023, lost $4.7 billion. 2024, lost $5.1 billion on their EV boondoggle. Thank God they have gas-powered vehicles that make enough profits where they can afford to do this. Well, in the short term, I don't think they can do that for decades. But yeah, when it comes to like how bad losses are, I want to pull this up because that's terribly bad. Like, that's, I don't know what's more, if you're a major investor, I don't know what would frustrate you more. The fact that they're losing like $5 billion a year on EVs, or that they've had a record number of recalls as well. Both are not good signs of long-term viability of a company. Now, again, back to the article. Again, that's InsideEVs.com. They say, quote, no final decision has yet officially been made, sources told the Wall Street Journal, but the move came last week after Ford itself became a campaign to promote Lightning's ability to power your home. Yeah, that's not really a value prompt long term. That's more like a novelty. No one's going to spend, what is it, $50, $70, $80,000 on an EV so they can power their home in the one time the year might need it and not even power their home efficiently. It'd be a lot better to just use a diesel generator, but nevertheless, they say, including a smart charging to take electricity when rates are cheaper, and also return energy to the grid with some participating utility companies. But as Wall Street Journal notes, Ford's EV sales have declined in the wake of electric tax credit going away. Yep. As a huge, also shows you the importance of politics when it comes to many business and industries. Automotive industry is one of the most regulated industries in the United States. It's ridiculous. I found abhorrent. And also the tax subsidies. I mean, a big reason why Americans are buying these depreciating smartphone on wheels is because they got a $7,500 tax credit, which is has a lot of money. Without that, EV sales are continuing. I think they're going to continue to crash like a Boeing airplane. Now, they say that, quote, total EV sales dropped 24% in October, and the Lightning has been known as a costly loss leader for years. And now it may no longer be useful for Ford to keep around at all. Ford declined to comment to Inside EVs on whether it's considering canceling the F-150. They say to understand why the opinion may change, we have to understand how automotive regulations have changed. Previous era standards, they had a fleet average. The more gas-guzzling cars you want to sell, the more EVs you had to sell, which, yeah. Again, the government getting involved in areas they should not. But yeah, that was one of the reasons Ford was making these abominations, just so they can continue to sell profitable vehicles. And I think we're going to see, again, there is some demand for EVs, don't get me wrong. However, it is not a fraction of what these automotive companies thought or hoped it would be. And without the government propping them up, I think you're going to continue to see these sales crash. And yeah, I don't know how many people are going to miss their F-150 Lightning. A truck that can't tow more than a couple of miles. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But the amount of towing, the towing range, when it actually has something attached to the vehicle, drops dramatically, over 50%. It's comical. So I'm not surprised that, there's a lot of rumors that, last month they paused production completely, which, in terms of automobile production, there are, times where you kind of throttle back or decrease the amount of output. But to stop it completely, that is almost unfathomably bad and shows how little demand there is for the product. I've personally seen 3 or 4 of these on the road. I met one owner who, yes, exactly, he had money to piss away. He had a vintage 60s Corvette, which those are worth more than a house. Well, house in Iowa. So I'm not seeing the average truck buyer wanting to get the EV version, especially if you actually use your truck for work, which is a lot of percentage of folks who actually buy Ford F-150 trucks. But let me know your thoughts because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the cultural part of the podcast, you have Matt Walsh reacting to the Minneapolis mayor while giving his victory speech in Somalian. Now, this brought to us thanks to Matt Walsh responding to Libs at TikTok. And she said, quote, newly re-elected Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey gave his victory speech in Somalian. Now, Matt Walsh says, quote, or let me pull it on the main screen, actually. And I appreciate all the feedback. When I first started the show, I spoke faster than Ben Shapiro and more awkwardly than Joe Biden trying to come upstairs. And I had like 3 subscribers, maybe 4. But as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers, I've become slightly better at speaking. Some might argue I'm still speaking way too fast and I stumble over my words terribly, though I would argue, statistically speaking, slightly better at speaking. This fuels my theory. The more people that click that button, the better I'll get at speaking. Maybe make it through an entire episode perfectly. Which reminds me, don't just click that button. Tell your friends and tell your enemies. Your enemies might be so enamored and impressed by your choice of podcast material, they then become your best friends. Or they find me so visually disgusting that your enemies get upset at you even further and becomes a physical altercation. So maybe I shouldn't recommend that. Either way, make for an interesting story. So tell your friends and tell your enemies about the show. Now, Matt Walsh, as I was trying to say, said, quote, as I've said many times now, politicians in this country should be required by law to speak English when addressing the public in an official capacity. There should never be a time when Americans can't understand what their elected leaders are saying. Now, the issue is in terms of, the people in Minneapolis, it's basically Somalia Junior, Somalia 2.0. They understand what he's saying. But let's hear. This is, again, Jacob. I'm going to speak Somalian.
Assalamu alaikum. Hamid wal accent.
Doesn't even have a blazer on. Where's the dignity? There's a tie. I'll give him some credit.
Maaga Yegawa Yarub Farid. Doka Magala Minneapolis.
I think he's rapping.
Ko Laba Sata. Afarshan. Maaga Yegawa Yarub Farid. Doka Magalada, Minneapolis. Mahat Senate. Mahat Senate. For all of your incredible work, Mahat Senate.
Oh, that's some English.
To the great people of Minneapolis. And I say that very intentionally, because no matter where you are from, Minneapolis should be a place where you are proud to call home.
No one's talking to Minneapolis. Really? Come on now. I mean, why are they waving their home flag?
Whether you are from Bosaso or Mogadishu,
What?
whether you're from Hargeisa or Galkayo, whether you are from Getaway or South.
Getaway sounds like a discount airplane, like right next to Spirit Airlines, doesn't it? Getaway Airlines 2.0. Might be an idea there.
West. Minneapolis is a place where you come to seek prosperity, where you come to raise your family.
Yeah, they have a lot of crime and poverty, and yeah, I don't know anyone who dreams. I don't know if the American dream is Minneapolis. Even 10 or 20 years ago, like, I mean, for one, it's cold as hell, but nevertheless.
And here is what this election means. This election means this is a moment for unity, where the entire Somali community can come together and say, this is our people, this is our city, we are united behind each other.
I mean, he is right, it is their city, and also basically their state. Friendly reminder, the weak state of Minnesota, which I purposely mispronounced as a slight to that weak and conquered state, is so weak and conquered that they changed their entire state flag from what used to be, well, as Trump would say, Minneapolis and Minnesota used to have a big, beautiful flag, very ornate, very historical, gorgeous designs, very intricate. Then they bastardized it. It looks like a new Somalia 2.0 flag, like a kid with crayon who was blind and had cerebral palsy or something like that. I don't mean to offend folks, but you know what I mean. The flag was terrible. It's awful. It's an abomination. And I don't think Trump said that precisely, but yeah, the flag of Minnesota is a rudimentary drawing that I could have drawn better in Microsoft Paint, and I'm definitely not an artist. And it looks strikingly similar to Somalia. But yet, they've imported, obviously, a lot of people to Minneapolis for the past couple of years, especially. And again, Matt Walsh is a little incorrect. He obviously spoke some English there, but he's also appealing to, you know, the imported voters. And again, some of them are being legally immigrated to the United States as well. It's not all illegal. I'm not trying to insinuate that. But yes, country's definitely shifting. We also, kind of culturally speaking, I think there's definitely a lack of assimilation that we didn't see before. Now, again, my family came from Cuba. And contrary to what you're thinking, no, we actually used an aeroplane. It was one of the last planes that that left when Fidel Castro took over. And again, they mostly spoke Spanish, obviously. They're from Cuba. And when they got to, well, I joke and say they went to the one place in the world worse than communist Cuba, South Said, Detroit. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think. And I guess they did got rid of their crappy Cuban flags. They didn't bring them because, again, why do you want to represent a weak, conquered country destroyed by communism? They all wave American flags. They learned English. They learned the ideologies and the history of the United States and the founding fathers. They worked like hell, and at the time went to school when colleges was affordable. And most of them became doctors and lawyers and contributing members of society. They still speak Spanish like at home gatherings every once in a while, but again, they speak exceptional English. You might joke and say, well, obviously not. Look at you. You can barely speak English at all. Case in point. However, everyone except me does not have a stutter in the family, and they all speak exceptional, really good English. And again, it's not to say that you shouldn't use your language at all if you come to the United States, but it seems as if there's less of assimilation, and it's not really the melting pot that we used to have and we thought we had back in the day, where we would all kind of come together. We had a shared ideology, shared vision of the country. It's maybe it's just me, but let me know in the comments. I think it's very different than what it used to be. And this kind of case in point, their campaign, and again, both the Minneapolis mayoral candidates were campaigning in Somali language, as well as now his victory speech, much of it was in Somali as well. Which again, I don't think if you even wind back the clock even 16 years ago, you would have seen, or even 10 or 5 years ago, I really don't think you would have seen. And I don't know, maybe in a couple years, you'll, instead of pressing 2 for Spanish and 1 for English on the phone when you call directly, you'll say press 3 for Somalian. I'm only partially exaggerating, but you never know. And it's been moderately viral, got about 433,000 views and 16,000 likes. One of the first comments comes to us thanks to, well, not the most liked comment, but one of the most handsome ones. The Topping Show, I say, quote, well, of course, those are many of his voters they imported in, getting 4 likes. Now, the first real comment, by number of likes, comes from someone by the name of Exposed Big Pharma, hashtag Pharmageddon24, and he has a picture of a guy wearing a t-shirt that says, quote, support the country you live in or live in the country you support, getting 92 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, but then how will Democrats pander to illegals who don't speak English, getting 35 likes? Sweetheart Groiper, looks like the picture is a frog with yellow hair, who describes himself as America First, Christ is King, OG Groiper, NFJ. Got more followers than me. Hashtag I lift float, I think. And he says, quote, he's Jewish, by the way. I guess he's referring to Minneapolis Mayor Frey, who was born, apparently this is from Wikipedia, born in Arlington County, Virginia, into a Jewish family, grew up near Oakton, Virginia, suburb of Washington, D.C. Parents were, now that's a very unique profession. His parents were professional modern ballet dancers, which, I mean, that's good for trivia now. No one would ever guess that is a profession. I mean, that's a profession, of course, but no one would ever guessed that. Mother is of Russian Jewish ancestry, and father converted to Judaism. That got 134 likes. I Love American News says, I support this idea, and it's a sign that says truckers who can't speak English should be banned from the road, getting 42 likes. Lars Mapstead says, Navajo and Cherokee would like a word, getting 25 likes. Well, it feels a little racist. That picture coincidentally had about 25 pounds of, what is that, fancy blue stone? Oh, this is embarrassing. My Native American history class is failing me already. Oh no, let me in the comments. One of those moments on cameras where the word's at the tip of your tongue. Turquoise, there we go. They have about 25 pounds of turquoise and necklaces and pins on them. They don't all do that, by the way. You can go full racist. Those no jean jackets. I'm like, partially kidding. You just Googled a picture of them. And that got 25 likes. Much Love Gaming says Spanish is America's first language. Spain got to America first. That's why it's their first language. English got here second. Gave 7 likes. Well, then we brought things like gunpowder, firearms, the wheel, horses, and it was conquered. I say we. I think my family came from Poland decades ago. Well, on one side of the family, and Cuba on the other. You also have America, spelled Merika. I'm sorry, I mispronounced that. America. That's how you're supposed to pronounce it. His picture, a generator of Ilan Omar. His flag says, welcome to mini Somalia, in 33 likes. Kazum Howell says this light bulb headed pirate wanted to conquer y'all. Is Omar Fatih, who is the other mayoral candidate for Minneapolis, which I don't have much ground to stand on when it comes to making fun of people's appearances, because obviously, let's see here. We also have Blakely saying, quote, how about politicians who wear uniforms of foreign governments on the House floor while sitting on a Foreign Affairs Committee? Weird. You don't have a problem with that. Getting forget who this gentleman is, getting 445 likes. Let's see. Adam Johnson says, the left will have you believe that the beauty of America is when citizens can speak to each other or understand their elected leaders are saying multiculturalism is national suicide, getting 142 likes. Let's see. Zaki says, I'm sure the Native Americans speak English, getting 11 likes. Vomit Romney. Is that a reference to Mitt Romney, who, the fact that he was a Republican candidate is so pathetic. That was years ago, but of course, says, quote, yes, Biden made speeches for 4 years in language no one ever heard of before. Completely unacceptable, getting 19 likes. Also have Adam Abramson saying, quote, he gave a tiny portion of his speech in Somalian as a shout out to some of his supporters. You need a hobby, getting 15 likes, which I don't think Matt Walsh actually has time for hobbies. I think in one episode he said he fishes, or is that Tucker Carlson? They both wear flannel and are sometimes based, but I think, no, Matt Walsh has a wife and 6 kids. I can't, in terms of his bandwidth and having a hobby, I don't think it'd be hard for him to get one. Let's see here. Humanity First says, communication should be clear, yet, yes, but politicians should also be able to reach multilingual constituents respectively. I got 8 likes. Was he ratioed? Art Vandelay, Seinfeld reference, I like it, says, multilingual should include English, so no problem if they were to speak English. Getting 3 likes. JD Vance is Michael, says, nope, doesn't matter if he has a multilingual audience, one language for one country, getting 7 likes. Yeah, the real question is, let's see here. One more. MAGA T says citizens of this country should be required by law to speak English as well. Denaturalize and deport anyone who can't speak English or our English language. Getting 10 likes. Thankfully, he does not clarify I have to speak English well, because, again, if you had to do that, I'd probably be booted out pretty quick. It's like, who's this stuttering moron? But in all seriousness, let me know your thoughts, because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the political part podcast, you have Representative Thomas Massie saying we need to deregulate those terrible gas cans. Now, this is specifically Representative Thomas Massie's Twitter, and he says, quote, "That's it. I'm fed up. I'm co-sponsoring legislation to make gas cans great again." How do you, with that acronym? MAGA is catchy. MAGA? MG? Yeah, I can't pronounce that. He says, quote, "I usually fuel farm equipment from a large tank with a hose and pump, but yesterday I used one of the braid dead modern gas diesel jugs and ended up spilling several ounces. Fire hazard." Should have got more viral. Got 326,000 views, 321,600 views and 15,000 likes. Which, yeah, and he also says Representative Chip Roy bill is why I'm co-sponsoring. He got 15,000 likes for that. His second comment get 991 likes, which I say, yeah, about time. Molly Metz has a gif of one of those talk show hosts drinking gasoline, getting 70 likes. Thomas Massey says, "Good luck trying to drink from that thing without spilling it all over oneself," getting 482 likes. Which, yeah, modern gas cans. And I have a conspiracy theory. I think it might be true. I can't help but think the government made gas cans as unusable as possible and cumbersome as possible to nudge people towards using those useless, stupid EV lawnmowers. Because again, I mean, the dumbest design ever. I remember, thank God I had vintage metallic gasoline cans for the most part. I remember a couple years ago, I was in a jam and we got a gas canister from a gas station. It was the dumbest asinine design. There's a little notch on top, so on the handle. So on the handle that you push, you had to push up a notch, push down onto the handle or the spout, and then pour it. And the other stupid design is there's a neck. You gotta pinch it and pull it down and then pour it. Is the dumbest design, and you always spill fuel. It's gotten to the point where when I'm refilling my flamethrower, which the kids loved on Halloween, free flamethrower with every IT purchase. Go to toptechnologies.com. I'm not kidding. It is so much fun. When I'm refilling the flamethrower, I would get more on the ground than in the damn flamethrower. So what I do now when I have to use that crappy plastic one, which I might just burn, I need to get rid of that, and I need to buy more gasket material for my vintage ones to refurbish them. But in all seriousness, I take the spout off, I get a funnel, and I just pour it right into the flamethrower using that funnel and using the gas can without a spout at all. Just pick it off completely. And I got less on the ground doing that than I did with using that damn contraption they built in. And the only reason they built those in is because of U.S. government regulations and lawyers, which make life, well, I would argue, terrible for everyone. But of course, you say that until you need it, then they're awesome. But you get what I mean. I hate modern gas cans. This is one of my top pet peeves. And I think about it every time I have to do the damn lawn, which is especially not satisfying when you rent. It's like, oh yeah, the lawn looks great. But nevertheless, those gas cans are so stupid. But again, it frustrates you to the point where if you're a lesser man, you might think, maybe I get one of those EV lawnmowers, which are the dumbest things on the planet. When I first moved and I didn't have a gas lawnmower, one of my friends let me borrow that. I think it was a sick joke. What was it, the Walmart brand? Yeah, it was the Walmart brand where it takes one of those batteries. Every 20 or 30 feet, if you had too much grass, got a little too tough, it would just shut off completely. And I would have to take the battery out to reset it, slam that sucker back in, and then restart and go really, really, really slow and hope you don't hit any real grass of any real density. That's how much I'm a vendetta. I will never, mark it here right now, I will never get one of those stupid EV lawnmowers. And again, there's some applications where EV, battery powered makes sense. Compact drills when you're on the go makes sense. Why not get a nice Milwaukee one, or heaven forbid, maybe get a Ryobi. I'm only partially kidding. It's the same company, TTI. But nevertheless, it's an instance where that makes sense. I understand that. Or if you have a sand or a polishing wheel and you're doing a job every once in a while, you don't need to have it plugged into the outlet. There's some instances with power tools, I understand. But nevertheless, my conspiracy theory is they have these crappy gas cans to nudge you towards those disposable, terrible lawnmowers. But that's just me. Now, I also have a tweet by, who's this handsome devil? Me, the topping show. I say, quote, "You end up spilling most of the gas with the new bullcrap designs. My conspiracy theory is that they nudge people to use electric lawnmowers and other disposable junk. Personally, vintage cans are where it's at. Getting 4 likes." Let's see here. Ashin says these regulatories aren't arbitrary. They targeted a measurable pollution source, especially in summer ozone zones, which might be grammatically technically right, but sounds awkward as hell. More awkward than me trying to speak. That got 3 likes and 59 comments. Was he ratioed? I hope so. Ben has a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog and says, "Don't care, didn't ask, plus you're gay." Getting 9 likes, which I don't know if it almost sounds like some Trump would say. He wouldn't, but it's like, "Don't care, didn't ask, plus you're gay." Porky Logan says, do you feel like an effing idiot now? Getting 17 likes, making 18. Daniel says, LOL, you do realize that all one has to do is just open it and use the funnel instead, right? And spill even more, getting 7 likes. Let's see here. Speak the Truth and Raise Hell has a meme or meme of the gas can. It says, quote, when the government tells us they're trying to make the world a better place, just remember they fucked up a gas can. Getting 357 likes. Yeah, that's a damn good point. Actually, that might be a good way to retire my gas can with a terrible abomination of the contraption for the funnel. I'm either going to take a saw and cut the thing off, or just burn the whole thing. Depends on how I feel. We'll see. Maybe let me in the comments. Maybe that could make good material. Let's see. MTC has a picture of a spout replacement kit you can get on Amazon, which includes it includes a drill bit to just, make it all better. Getting 87 likes. Steve Keaton says, I've gone to using industrial metal cans like this, which, yeah, actually, that's an Eagle can. Those are really good. I actually have some old or vintage Eagle gas cans like that, but it's about half the height, as well as a rectangular one I need to start using more. Craziness Puma says, the Germans knew what they were doing. There's a picture of the iconic Jerry cans getting 818 likes. See here. A couple more memes of telling you, if you trust the government to make things better, just remember how they destroyed or messed up gas cans. Yeah, this is one of those stupid ones where you have to push down upon the spout as you're trying to pour it down. It's so awkward and cumbersome. They got 230 likes. And hopefully this bill gets passed and we can actually have usable gas canisters again. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have a woman saying why she voted for Mamdani and going viral on social media. Now this brought us thanks to End Wokeness. And he says, quote, NBC asked a New Yorker why she voted for Zohran Mamdani. Listen to her answer. Of course, I'm sure she's going to give us some very articulate, like 3 specific reasons or ideologies, or rather 3 specific action plans he has to make the city better. Obviously not. It's not a logic or reason. But let's hear what she has to say.
What did you vote for?
Mamdani.
Mamdani.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
He's my friend. He's a Muslim. He's a new mayor for New York. I'm happy.
You're happy. Well, he's your friend. Spoiler alert, no politicians are your friends, including Trump and all the other ones. They're not your friends. Unless you're like, yeah. It blows my mind how some people worship politicians. Again, I appreciate when some of them do good things. More often than not, they just seem to make life worse for everyone and do terrible, stupid things. Well, terrible and or stupid things in general. But yeah, that's her friend, and he's Muslim. That's why she voted for him. And this, I forget, it's not hijab. Not a scarf. What is that called? It's not the one that covers everything but the eyes. Obviously, I'm not a fashion aficionado. I bought one suit like 10 or 15 years ago, and I just wear it awesomely, obviously. Good ROI from a financial perspective. And she got 837.9 thousand views and 5.5 thousand likes. Based Electrician being one of the first responses. Great to see him back in the comments saying, quote, let's play a little game called Foreign or Retarded. And there's a screenshot of her that got 311 likes. Again, I don't have much ground to stand on when it comes in terms of, making fun of how she looks. Because, my face. You also have Gunther Eagleman says, quote, they really are the stupid game, 512 likes. True. The Conservative Alternative says, quote, New York City is cooked. You have the Handmaid's Tale, and then you do have the hijab next to her. And it says, quote, isn't it kind of wild how the same radical feminist who screech about the Handmaid's Tale are now voting to mass import a culture that actually behaves like that? Getting 246 likes. Yeah, that is 247 likes, going up like a stock. That is one of the most ironic things in terms of like, yeah, who's voting for this? It's overwhelming liberal white women. It's the same gals that screech about, oh yeah, the United States has become a Handmaid's Tale. Like, no, obviously it hasn't. But if you keep voting the way you do, conceivably, yeah, it could. I mean, we're seeing this that ideology spread in other countries. David Santa Clara simply has Professor Xavier from the X-Men getting the mind thingamajig, getting 278 likes. Jay says we need more mass deportations, getting 4 likes. One bad dude says deport them all, getting 61 likes. Spitfire says she deserves what she gets, getting 78 likes. All Zupa simply said good grief, getting 24 likes. Daniel Hall does not give, he has a statistic, but he doesn't give the source, but he says, quote, 84% of women 18 to 29 voted for Mamdani. This is the age group that films meltdowns over oppressions of white men, so they voted for a Muslim communist. Who wants to tell him, getting 331 likes, which also has 1984, not trending technically, but yeah, when George Orwell talks about, who's the one who actually pushes the big evil governments, it's always the youthful, easily controlled young women. It's an exceptionally brilliant novel. It's kind of sad how the real world is getting worse than the actual novel of 1984 by George Orwell. But yeah, that is one of the big themes of the book. You also have Ryan Vong, and he has a picture of Zohran. It says, Taco, kidding. It's a Takaya, I think is how they pronounce it. It says, a religion concept that allows Muslims to lie, deceive, or hide their beliefs if it helps spread Islam or protect its agenda. Don't be fooled by the mask. Sometimes tolerance is just a strategy, getting 105 likes. You have someone by the name of the Mechanic. You have a liberal, she's liberal because she has short purple hair, nerdy glasses, which blows my mind. There's like 10,000 different glasses designs out there, albeit made by 3 companies. And the leftists always choose the thickest, dumbest looking glasses. Bogs my mind. But again, looks like she's holding up a sign with looks like a hijab, but in the rainbow is her sign that she's holding up. They have a gal in a hijab with the other girls having a pike, getting 100 likes. God and Country has a picture of Mel Gibson from Braveheart, which, yeah, I need to see that one of these days. It says, if you stay silent in this war between good and evil, your life might be easier, but your children's won't. Getting 135 likes. Let's see here. Libs Hate Us says, why are these people in my country? He has a picture, let's see here, of some folks in the what year was that? Talking about how African Americans need to go back, getting 173 likes, but what is he ratioed? No. MAGA meme team, A+ for marketing, they in fact did respond in meme or meme form. As a picture, one says World War I and II, and it's an airplane dropping bombs. It says World War III, and they're dropping trans flags, Indians, and Muslims getting 18 likes. I Love American News has a Star Wars meme with Anakin and Padme. Got there eventually. And you have Anakin replaced by Muslim. It says, I'll bring Islam and Sharia. And she goes, but we still get to keep our rights, right? And he's zooming on his face, somewhat smiling, then she is then wearing a hijab, getting 95 likes. But yeah, I can't but thinking, again, I think it's more prevalent, politically speaking, on the left and the right in terms of people voting mindlessly. I mean, geez Louise, Democrats have a whole mantra, vote blue no matter who, which is stupid. There are some people on the right who will just vote because there's an R next to someone's name as well. I don't think it's to the same extent as people on the left, but I think we need to dramatically change our voting laws where if you can't name 3 specific reasons you're voting for someone, I don't know, should your vote even count? If you're just voting for someone because they have vibes or you think they're a good guy, which we've heard before from idiots. Like, again, I always tell folks, even if I don't agree with who you voted for, if you can give me 3 specific reasons or 3 policies that person is running on that you agree with that will make the country a better place, I'll respect your vote. Even if I don't agree with that vote, I'll respect it as an intelligent vote. And truth be told, I think we need to have more intelligent votes and ballots being cast, but let me know your thoughts because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Toyota recalling 1 million vehicles because, whoops, the cameras might not work. Now, this brought to us thanks to Motor1.com, specifically Anthony Allianz, who's a writer over there. And he says, quote, Toyota recalls over 1 million cars for backup camera issues. Not even Subaru Solara could escape Toyota's latest recall. Yep, there's a Toyota off-roader there, which kind of sad to think how many of those off-road machines just stay on the pavement and do nothing and maybe just go to soccer practice. But it's cool to see one in the elements for once, at least for marketing reasons. And Anthony says, quote, Toyota has issued a massive recall that affects more than 1 million vehicles. They may have a defect that prevents the rearview camera from displaying properly on the infotainment system if the driver performs certain actions too soon after starting the vehicle. According to a recall report, equipped with the parking assistant ECU may experience 2 issues. The software can cause the rear image to freeze when reverse is selected within a specific time frame after starting the car, or the image might not be displayed at the next startup if the car is turned on and off at a specific time. You see that? Here's another picture of the Lexus badge there, since again, a lot of the same components. They say that Toyota began investigating the potential issue in April 2024 after receiving field reports from Japan. During the test, the automaker discovered a software problem and decided late last month to issue a recall as vehicles could fail to meet the federal motor safety regulations. The automaker found that if a vehicle shifted into reverse with 0.7 or 2.5 seconds after ignition, the screen may freeze up to 1.8 seconds. Plenty of time for another car or child to cross the vehicle's reverse path. The inoperative display may happen when two 23-second millisecond. What happens when two 23-millisecond camera optical alignment data wiring processors occur randomly during that first 12.5 seconds after ignition. Which, geez Louise, that is a mouthful. You say the recall affects nearly every Toyota and Lexus vehicle. It even involves the Subaru Solterra. Here's a full list of the vehicles, which, geez Louise, this is a lot. So get your, well, I think it's safe to say everything they've made, but also seriousness, I'll list them. 2023 to 2025 Lexus ES, 2024 to 2025 Lexus GX, 2024 to 2025 Lexus LC, 2023 to 2025 Lexus LS. How disappointing it does not have an LS engine, but nevertheless, 2022 to 2025 Lexus LX, 2022 to 2025 Lexus N, 2023 to 2026 Lexus RX, 2023 to 2025 Lexus RZ, 2024 to 2026 Lexus TX, which, if that isn't embezzled and if that doesn't, it has a bunch of Texas logos on it, I'll be disappointed. Obviously it doesn't, but yeah, like BMW, they may have their nomenclature being pretty boring instead of having cool, unique vehicle names. Cadillac does that too, but nevertheless. Also, the 2023 to 2025 Subaru Solterra. You have the 2023 to 2025 Subaru BZ4X, which only 10 people bought, so that's not that bad of the recall. 2025 to 2026 Toyota Camry. 2023 to 2026 Toyota Crown. 2025 Toyota Crown is Signia. 2024 to 2026 Toyota Grand Highlander. 2023 to 2025 Toyota Highlander. 2024 to 2025 Toyota Land Cruiser. 2023 to 2025 Toyota Mirari. 2023 to 2025 Toyota Prius. 2023 to 2025 Toyota RAV4. 2025 Toyota Sienna. 2023 to 2024 Toyota Venza. Yes, that is a mouthful, basically everything. They say Toyota has already begun contacting affected owners and will instruct them to take their vehicle to Toyota Service Center, where Recognition will update their parking asset ECU software, which, yeah, this is why I'm not a fan of these vehicles becoming more and more, computers on wheels and more technical, because, again, just more things that can break in the vehicle. I still think that reliability kind of peaked in the 2000s era, especially with the Japanese automobiles. I mean, my parents bought a 2001 Honda Accord new. To this day, runs like a champ. It's nice, simple, 4 cylinders of glory, although disappointingly an automatic transmission. But nevertheless, it's a great marvel of engineering and stood the test of time. But again, Toyota, you gotta be having better quality assurance, especially popping things to reverse. People become so dependent on those cameras instead of just having more situational awareness. So I gotta say, Toyota, with your brand being number one known for reliability, I gotta say this is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down or comments. Great way to give me some additional feedback. Let me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone, everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.